Hello, this is Craig from bitsbox.co.uk. In this video we are doing a size comparison of the new Kharadron Overlords ships. So, here they are. We have the gun hauler, the frigate, and the ironclad. So, as you can see, I've just propped him up with a dice cup and a spray can, because he's not glued to his base. Neither is the gun hauler actually, and he just sits there quite nicely. And this top bit was not been sprayed, is also not glued in place, so they sit in there quite nicely. It's a little bit on the wonky side, I do apologise. As you can see, it's a lot smaller than the other two. I actually think the frigate's really good value for money in comparison, because he's like 30 quid, this is like 50, and you can see like the size difference. Quite substantial. And you can see they use some new flying stems, which I will talk a little bit about later on, because I have some opinions on them. But yeah, I finished the frigate, and some of you guys may have already seen it on our Instagram and Facebook page. Gone for the sort of nebula effect. Underneath, I've started the same on the gun hauler as well. The ironclad only came out today, and I've been frantically trying to put as much of it together as possible. Again, the top balloons, if that's what they are, we'll call them balloons for now. They're not actually glued in place, but they sit on there really well. As you can see, he's huge. And you might just be able to see just that shot. I've got a Magnus for red, because I am going to, in the tradition of these videos, I am going to size comparison them with other miniatures, which I'm sure a lot of you guys will like to see. So, mainly I'll be maybe just size comparison between the two larger ships, because the gun haulers are quite small in comparison. Let's get some. Well, we'll start with them and get something little to compare them to. Let's get this Taurox, for example. Now you can see, like, obviously not as big as a Taurox, although with the balloon on that, the actual balloon thing just sort of really just doubles the size of these. Before you put that on, they just seem really tiny, but that really does increase the size. But yeah, that's them. But I do want to focus on the other two ships, really. And there goes the top bit. So yeah, I said it sat on there well, not too well. As you can see, as this one moves, it wobbles about. These flying stems, we'll talk about them now, shall we? They're basically the ones we're familiar with, just slightly different. So I'm going to take this gun hauler off. As you can see, like, they have much better support at the bottom, but exactly the same at the top, and that's their downside. For a little thing like a gun hauler, you can sort of really squeeze it on. If I can do it one-handed. Yeah, you can really squeeze it on, and that will stay in place because it's quite a tight fit. And the fit there for the ironclad is really loose. I don't know how it's going to hold it. I may have to get some more stems and put them in to hold it in place, because there's no way that's staying in place. This is just staying up by sheer willpower, I think. I had to super glue it in the end because the plastic glue just wouldn't seem to hold it, so. But that could have just been my impatience. But as you see, it wobbles about a lot, and we're going to be using these in the bat rep next week. And yeah, we'll see if it actually survives on its stem. But anyway, let's get into size comparisons now. So we have Magnus the Red. I've teased him, so let's bring him over. And you can see I've got plenty of other miniatures all lined up. We've got Bloodfester around the other side as well. And if we put him in between, oh, and he's knocked it. Oh, these stems are horrible. But you can see the size. Let's just come back here. Like, the height of the ironclad is almost level with the top of his wing. I can't remember how much Magnus is. I think he's actually more expensive, isn't he? So, yeah, there's a reason why this is 70 quid though. It's huge. Absolutely massive. Let's take out Magnus. We'll bring in the Lord of Change. We'll just do them in like whatever order I've got them. As you can see, even the frigate, height-wise, stands taller. Of course, these are on flying stems, so that does add height to them, but yeah, so the ironclad is way above. I do apologise, it's just slightly on the wall now. I just knocked it, but I really can't be bothered to play around with that. It's just all balancing at the moment. You can go over there. Just bear with me, I'll try and get these out of the way. Let's bring in a Lariel, my favourite miniature. Here she is on that big round base. So again, she stands very tall, almost identical to the Ironclad. Now as you look, there's not much height difference between the frigate and the Ironclad, so... But yeah, you can sort of see that a lot of these miniatures actually sort of stand at a very similar height. One what is shorter than all of them, but I want to bring it in anyway, is the Star Drake. And you'll notice the Star Drake has the same size base as the Ironclad there, so that uses a Star Drake sized base, and with these piddly little flying stems, base size probably don't even matter, but the same size base, but obviously it towers over him, but sort of a lot of bulk to a Star Drake. And then obviously this frigate, that uses sort of like the standard sort of chariot size base, I think. And then we have the base size for this guy is yeah, sort of like the Dreadnought base. Sort of like just the large oval base. So I think things like the Dreadnought and what's the other one, the Skitarii one, the Iron Strider, I think that uses that base. I think, I might be wrong, correct me in the comments if I am. I also have an Imperial Knight over here. His bodies and legs aren't attached, so I better grab him by the bottom. Just grab him by his legs. And you can see also spray can sort of gives you a good reference of the height of it as well. It was amazing, you know, it wasn't that long ago when we got Imperial Knights, and they were the biggest GW miniatures. They were certainly the tallest, and now, you know, a lot of models now stand sort of taller than them. Of course it's usually due to flying stems or wings or something, but they're starting to look a bit small now compared to other stuff. I actually think these miniatures are good value for their size, sort of compared to some of the other GW stuff. I mean, I didn't expect this to be that big. When I opened the box and saw how big the size was, I was like, wow, that is a huge ship. And yeah, really impressed with them, and they're quality kits. I really enjoyed putting them together. You can see a gun hauler here. Without the balloons, just looks tiny, like a land speeder. Which I don't actually have a land speeder, fortunately. But yeah, the balloons do add a lot to it. So yeah, the size comparison videos I've done in the past have seemed quite popular, and I was asked to do one on these ships. So that's pretty much all there. There's just show off. I do have a Bloodthirster if you want to just whack him in before we end the video. I do also have, for those of you who haven't seen the other size comparison videos, there is one on Magnus the Red and one on the Lord of Change. But yeah, see the Bloodthirster again, the height-wise is very similar to these guys. So when you look at the price of some of these other big kits, you know, they are somewhat more expensive than these, or roughly the same sort of price. So I think they're well sort of priced in comparison. The gun hauler maybe seems a bit excessive for 30 when you think for 20 quid more the frigate's like so much bigger, but and it's not actually that much more in points either, which is quite interesting. I think the gun haulers may be a little bit overpriced points wise, but we'll see. We're going to use them in a battle in the near future, so you'll see that on our channel in the next week or two, hopefully. So yeah, that is a size comparison video of the three ships. I'm sorry the balloons have fell off that one, but I'll see if I can just get them back on just for the outro pair with. No, it's just going to knock it forward. He's now nosediving to the ground. Okay, we'll leave him off. I can't be bothered to turn the camera off and sort out and come back because we are now finishing the video. But yeah, as you can see, a big size difference between all three of them. But lovely ships. Can't wait to get them all painted. So I hope this video has been useful for some of you guys, especially for anyone who's just curious on the size of these ships. As always, you can like, subscribe and Patreon, and I'll see you all again in the next video.